if you have a happy relationship, it's not just because you're a happy person, it's because your partner is a happy person who makes you happy. So if my partner isn't happy in the relationship, I'm invariably not going to be happy because I am in the relationship. If I am not in the relationship, that's a totally different ball game. But if I am in the relationship, then it's going to rub off. Hello people, how we doing? Beautiful day to you. I hope you're having a great time. If you're watching this, if you're still at work, I hope you're having a very productive day. And if you're watching this while you're at home already, I hope that you are really resting and enjoying the moment. This is the Alpha M Studios and I am Prolific. I will have a very interesting conversation, and it is, what do you do when your partner asks for space? What are the things, or are you even supposed to do anything in the first place? On a general note, what's your thoughts about, asking for space? So I've met just very few people who told me that they didn't have such, drama happening in their lives, in their romantic relationships, asking for space and all of that. But you have a whole lot of people who actually go through that. I, for one, had this very particular relationship where it almost felt like for every 2 weeks, this lady will, in her words, she would say, I need a breather. And at a point, I started asking myself, is it like I'm choking you? Is it like I'm always in your face? Is it like I'm always popping up on your screen? First off, the thing we'll probably want to look at is the fact that, is asking for a space the same thing as a breakup? Because there are people who are really, in love, right? The people who are really in love. And the moment the guy or the lady says, babe, can you give me like 2 weeks? Like, I need a break. Problem has started. Okay, problem just begins because they somehow, and I don't blame such people, I also had that fear. So somehow you just believe that if your partner is asking you for a break or space, as the case may be, if they're asking you for space or a break, it simply means this relationship is heading for the rocks. Other people believe that if your partner asks you for space, it simply means that he or she is probably seeing someone else and is probably trying to make a choice between yourself and the other person. And truth be told, without having to be sentimental, the truth is there are cases like that where your partner asks for a break and it's truly because he or she has met someone new and he or she is trying to make a decision. So yes, that does happen. All right, that does happen. We're not ruling out the fact that yes, we have people ask for a break or ask for space simply because sometimes, not all the time, sometimes they actually met someone or someone from their past. All right, someone from their past just showed up and they're discovering that they still have some bit of feelings for this person, and then now they're a little bit confused and they need time to think and clear their head. So yes, that does happen. However, what I want to look at is a broader view this edition of the podcast, a broader view, a more broader view, a different perspective. And it's this, that the first thing I should consider if I am an optimistic person and not a pessimist, what I should consider is this. The first question I should be asking myself is a break, is asking for space something healthy or is unhealthy for my relationship? I think that's a good place to start, right? So is this something that is healthy or it's something that is not healthy? Remember that before you go into a relationship, you had you had your thoughts, you had the emotions, you had how you do your way of doing things, you had, your foundation growing up on all of that. And then you're meeting someone who is different from yourself, either by reason of temperament or by reason of whatever it is, home, upbringing and all that. So now you're having to find a point of compromise. You're trying to find a point where the both of you can actually find synergy. And many times synergy would come with friction. All right. And the truth is, sometimes people actually do feel overwhelmed and then they ask for space. That does happen. So, I mean, you basically are, how do I say this now? You basically sometimes do need this breather. That's the truth. You do need this breather. So, when people feel overwhelmed, sometimes what they want to do is escape, especially people, most introverts. I mean, even the extroverts, that's the truth. Even the extroverts, especially if those extroverts are creatives, right? Talk about also the ambiverts. I mean, it's a general people thing. When sometimes people are actually, what's the word? When people feel overwhelmed, the best thing is to take a break. Same thing happens with appliances. Same thing happens with your phone, right? Sometimes your phone is beginning to get slow and it's hanging, and it's not a space problem sometimes. And they ask you, why don't you just restart the phone? Sometimes restarting is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Yes. Restarting also could just be like, it could just mean that you are in a picture that is framed, and like I like to say, when you're in a framed picture, you can't see every angle. It takes someone who's watching a frame to see every angle because you are in the picture. But when you detach yourself from a picture, you're able to see the frame. Sometimes you don't see if a relationship is really getting toxic because you are the one who is in the relationship. And so, you could just make excuses, or you don't even see at all. So it takes people who are not in that relationship to be able to say, hey guy, hey babe, this thing, the way it's going, if you don't tackle this, it's going to really get amplified much later in the future, right? So we have to establish the fact that asking for a break is something that it's not really a bad thing, right? But then now it's subjective, all right? It's subjective based on context. Now, it depends on who you're dating. That's another thing, right? I need to balance it. It depends on who you're dating, because if you know your man or your woman is someone that would always make an excuse, right? Always want to make an excuse, and you're already beginning to suspect that him or her is cheating on you, then asking for a break, it will be almost impossible to see it in, from an optimistic view that, oh, they probably really do need this break. All right. I was saying earlier on that you first owned you before you met someone, and now you're trying to find a point of compromise. And in finding synergy, there must be friction many times because you're two different individuals, right? So in fact, people they even quarrel with themselves, talking of a totally different individual, right? So you will always have friction. That does occur. But then, first off, you need to know, who is this person I have been dating? Right? Who is this person? Is this some form of exit that this person is trying to take? Right? And then another thing about asking for space or needing a breather is the fact that for someone to tell you he or she needs space, it's not something you just blot out. No, it's something you must have thought about. It's something that that person must have thought, this is the only thing I can do for myself right now. Also, let me give you another perspective. Sometimes people need space because as much as you have couple goals, right? If people have couple goals, in having couple goals, it doesn't mean you neglect yourself. It doesn't mean I pause my life because I'm trying to build my woman. It doesn't mean my woman should pause her life because she's trying to build me as a man, right? So it still boils down to synergy that we're talking about. So I should be at a point where I feel that our couple goals is beginning to drain our individuality in that relationship. Then it's time to say, hey, let's be objective. I need to find me, because. And it's a beautiful thing, asking for space, really, because you are giving you. in that relationship. If you have a happy relationship, it's not just because you're a happy person, it's because your partner is a happy person who makes you happy. So if my partner isn't happy in the relationship, I'm invariably not going to be happy because I am in the relationship. If I am not in the relationship, that's a totally different ball game. But if I am in the relationship, then it's going to be, it's going to rub off. Okay, it's going to rub off for me. So saying space, asking for space, or asking for a breather, or needing a break from an optimistic view has a way of helping you to be able to handle it properly. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with grief, right? Just like you will hear people say, and I also agree with people that it is okay to cry. Please, it is okay to cry when you lose a loved one. It's not time to man up. It is very okay to cry, extremely okay to cry. However, there, when I now cry and I grieve, and you probably see this in Nigerian movies back then. Not now anymore. We've evolved. Yeah, we've evolved. So but you see back then when probably someone loses, maybe a woman loses her husband, or a child loses the father or something, and then at the burial ceremony, and then the corpse is going down, and the child or the wife or the husband wants to jump in like, oh, we die together, what am I living for, and everybody's holding the person, right? That's grief. But people at that point step in to just give you some kind of glimpse that, hey, there is hope, even though you're going to miss this person, but there is hope. So the same thing with having to have space in a relationship. If I have the right mindset, if I have an optimistic view about it, it will help me to be able to handle it better. For instance, so let me not give this as just an analogy. Let me use my personal life so you don't think I'm just talking from the books, right? So my mom, for instance, passed after months of being ill. And a family member, it's very, very rare. I've seen it just once, sometime in Jos. It's very, very rare for a family member to say, you know what, we love this loved one, we love this person very much, but we really think as a family that it's okay for he or she to die. It's very rare. Even when you see the person suffering, in pain, night, day, crying, and you guys are burning so much money, the love you have would almost, you just can't, because it's inhumane to say, why don't you just rest, not die, but why don't you just rest, just die, right? But when you see from a positive, an optimistic view, you're able to handle it differently. So my mom was ill for a while, and everything looked like the pointers were there, like she's not going to make it. And she just resolved, nah, I'm not making this, and told us, you do this, wear this clothes for me on that day, bury me at so spot and all of that. So it was difficult, right? But we're thinking, we've done all we know. We've prayed, we've gone to the hospitals, we've done all we know. Do we love our mom enough to let her go, or do we love her enough to just hear her voice groaning in pain, alive, but she can't do anything? So that was a dilemma for us, right? That was a dilemma. And it's almost the same thing as when you hear statements like, if you really love a person and the person wants to leave you, let the person go. If the person is yours, the person will come back. Some kind of like a half truth for me that I believe as a person, right? If I really love you, right, truly, if I really love you and you need out, right, the best I can do is this: I would want to see you with a better man than myself. Now that is love. Love is not that I'm trying to force you against your will to stay. Love is that, are you sure I converse with you? Are you sure this is what you really want? Are you under some kind of family pressure? Is there somebody that is whispering things to you about our relationship? If I am not convinced, I'll let you go. That is love. And then in letting you go, all I can do is just pray. I can't force your choice, right? But I can just pray and, hey, I just pray she meets somebody that treats her either as good as I did or better than myself. Now that is love. It's the same thing with having to talk about space, needing a break. Sometimes people are not necessarily needing a break because they want to cheat on you. Sometimes they just want to be a better version of themselves, and they've realized that you guys have not been able to find that synergy that you were supposed to have. So, the best thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break, right? And I'll find me again, and then I'll muster enough strength to come back to the relationship and make it work. All right. So as we begin to wrap up this particular episode, I just want to list a few things that you could do. It's not a hard and fast rule. It's not a must that you must do these things, but it's something that could help you, because I know there are people right now who are in a relationship and they're confused. Am I really in a relationship? Because this guy has been gone. It's been 3 weeks. This babe has been gone. It's been 1 month. What am I supposed to be doing? Right? He or she needs a break. Am I supposed to be calling him? Okay, what if I don't call him and then he comes back and he accuses me, or she accuses me that I wasn't there for him, and I'm like, but you asked for a break. So I'm confused. What am I supposed to be doing when you ask for a break? All right. So the first thing is don't panic. Right? Don't panic. Have a conversation. Rule out your suspicions. Rule out all the suspicions. Okay, babe. Okay, I'm not arguing with you. This is what you want, right? You've thought about it. You think it's going to make us better. Okay, great. But I just want to whatever. This is what are my fears. This is what my thoughts. Is it family? It's like your mom doesn't like me. Depending if you guys probably planned on getting married in the next 6 months, you can ask, is it family? Is there something I did? Is there something and please, also about relationships and breaks, right? Don't be quick to think or to make your partner feel like there's something they're doing wrong. Make it you. Let it be that you're asking, is there something I did wrong? Right? Let it be that your partner says, no, there isn't, or yes, there is. Rather than say, oh no, you must have an ulterior motive, and that's why you're trying to take a break. You just mess a whole lot up. So try to have a conversation. Don't panic. Try to have a conversation. And then when this person asks for space, the next thing you can do, which is reasonable, is ask the person. Remember, this person is not an acquaintance. This person is not a stranger. It's your friend. You guys relate. You guys talk. So ask the person. He or she owes you that. Ask the person, I need some kind of time frame. Okay, I need some kind of time frame. Now, you're not necessarily saying I need a break for 1 week. It might not always be the case, but you could just give a time frame. Say, you know what, I don't know, I just need to be fine, but let's say the next 3 weeks. It's good you have something to work with. It's good to have something. It's like having to date a guy and you don't know when he's going to propose to you, and it's 5 years, it's 6 years, it's 7 years. Hello? Do you get? There should be progression. There should be benchmarks. There should be landmarks. Okay, we were here, now we're here, and from the look of things, it looks like this relationship is going to progress. The same way you have been in a relationship and you've been progressing, is the very same way you should be able to, if you need a break, you should be able to give me an idea how much time you need. You don't just up and say, you know what, I'm done, I need a break, and you're gone. No. You owe that person, and that person has a responsibility of finding out how much time she or she needs. All right. The beautiful thing again about breaks is this: the person needs the break. Give it to the person. The person needs the break. The person needs to have a grip of whatever it is they feel they're losing. But you also, it's a blessing for you, because you probably have been so invested in this relationship. And I can tell you firsthand, we had a live show yesterday, and the topic was, what makes you feel special in a relationship. And two people said attention. Attention makes them feel special. And that's the truth. You can't love someone and you don't give the person attention. How? Why? Because affection breeds, or rather, attention breeds affection. Affection doesn't just happen, it comes from attention. So an attention is proof that you are in love with this person. So if attention is something that makes you feel special, right? I can tell you that a man or a woman can love attention and yet it can be too much. Yes. Why? Because you have other responsibilities, you have other things you need to do, you have other things beckoning, you have maybe a firstborn, you have younger ones to take care of, you have fees to pay, you have bills, you have work, you have timelines, you have, if you're a teacher, you have lesson notes to make. It's not just for the person, it's not just for the person asking for the break, it's also a blessing for you. Now you might say, you might get emotional and say, but I'm giving you attention, is it attention you're looking for? No. Sometimes even the attention, which is a good thing, can be a bad thing. There are people who need attention, and the same people will tell you they feel choked. The same people will tell you things like, I don't want a clingy partner. I'm sure you've heard that. I don't want a clingy. And you're like, but you say you like attention. Yes, attention regulated, not clinginess. They're not the same thing. So sometimes the person just wants to take a seat, take a back seat. And then you also you owe it to yourself to grow. You owe it to yourself to redefine whatever it is that you're doing. So don't just at that moment, we're talking about what you should do when your partner is asking for a break. So while your partner is taking the break, you also don't just sit down waiting for your partner to come back. You owe it to yourself to work on yourself, recreate yourself, redefine yourself. Very important. Very important, because when this person is coming back, probably there are things that he or she didn't tell you. And when they're coming back, they're hoping that they will meet a better version of you. So imagine you just sitting down and then another thing you could do is listen. Okay, listen. Some things might not make sense, but just listen. Why? Because that's what's important to the person at that moment. So you just listen and say, okay, you know what? I'm just going to be here for you. I'm going to support you. If you need me, I'll be here. You could also ask, would you want me to call you once a day, or would you prefer a text message? Sadly, a friend of mine has a business in Jos, and yesterday she posted and she talked about how when I saw it, I broke. So her place keeps getting boggled back to back to back to back, and I don't know, I think this is like the 5th time, same place, boggled, everything stolen, and she's starting all over again. And she's quite popular, she's an influencer on the plateau. And then she said, please don't call. When I read that, I'm like, this is so me. She's like, please don't call, except you want to call me and meet me in the hospital. She said, but don't call. I know you guys care, but please don't call. Don't condole with me. Don't call. At best, send a text message. So you have to understand, what does your partner want? If a text message is going to do while you need your break, great. Do you want a text message once a day or once in 2 days? There has to be something I'm working with, all right? So listen to the person, show kindness, be empathetic. And then finally, there's just so much, but finally what I want to say is, I'm ending on this note, but it's a very sensitive one. 2 things happen at this point. So you have somebody you're in love with. I've done it, right? Almost everyone has. You see it. So you have someone you're so in love with, you've had beautiful pictures together, then you break up and you are really hurt. You're hurt. It feels like you will tear everybody that just say hello apart. You are really upset. You're upset, but guess what? In the midst of your pain and loneliness, the opposite sex smiles at you. The opposite sex just hangs around you and wants to help you do something or just be there for you. Let's say this person, you guys always talk late nights, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Suddenly you are awake because your body system is used to it. You're awake, but there's nobody to talk with. And then this guy or this lady just sends you a hi, hello, You're not interested. How are you doing? By this time of the day, I'm fine, thank you. You know, are you up? Are you seeing the movie? No, I'm not. Before you know it, the person is still probing and is striking a conversation. And the person is like, is it okay if I call by this time? I know it's late. And the person comes up all nice. And you're like, okay, there's no harm. Okay, great, fine. Let's talk. I mean, I can't even sleep. And before you know, you're opening up. Before you know, you're, in quotes, falling in love with this new person, which we call a rebound. At that moment, you don't really know what you want because your emotions are flying all over the place. The same thing happens even in breakups, or no, not breakup now, in needing a space. People sometimes need a space and we miss it, and we think that in that period of a space, I need a backup. I need a backup. It sounds like a flash. I need a backup. So I don't have space with this person. I need a backup memory card or whatever. So you're doing a backup and you're missing a major thing, which is self-care. At the point where this person is a breakup is not the same thing as a break. Very important. Breakup is not a break. Breakup is not a break, except is a manipulative person who says he or she wants a break but ends up ghosting you. That's a totally different extreme. But a breakup is not a break. If you didn't get anything from this podcast, that's one thing that should stay with you. A breakup is not a break. And even when it looks like it's a breakup, make sure you ask. Make sure you have a conversation and you don't assume, and you move on with the next person. As a matter of fact, you just might be moving on with the next person and you're carrying baggages of things you could have dealt with if you were alone with yourself and you dealt with your excesses before you moved on. Am I saying that people ask for a break because you have excess, the other person has excesses? No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, whatever the reason could be, see it as an opportunity to say, oh, I've been so invested in this relationship, I need to make time. Or probably I used to, after work, go to the gym. I've not been going to the gym for a while because after work I just go to see him, or after work I just go to see her. Maybe this is just the opportunity now that we can't see each other anymore. Let me resume, going to the gym. That's something you're doing for you, just beyond even your body. It's something you're doing for your mind. Then you're reconnecting with new friends and old friends you used to meet at the gym. It's distracting you. You're burning. You're getting fit. A whole lot is happening to you at the same time, as opposed to you now crying, excommunicating. Not excommunicating, but secluding yourself from people, or using that loneliness to move on with someone else when you have not been introspective and you are not waiting for your partner who asked for a break that is not a breakup. I hope these few things have been able to help you. I really hope it's been able to help you. So I'll just go over them for the last time. So you should be able to have a conversation, find out, give me a time frame. How long do you think, how much of the break do you need? All right, do that. Also try to listen, also try to be there for them. Okay, another thing is, when somebody asks for a break and actually takes that break, some people actually feel guilty. Sometimes they don't know how to come back. All right, they're scared that you probably didn't take it well. That's why I talked about the story about the grief, losing mom, and when people lose people. Sometimes people don't know how to handle loneliness. They don't know how to handle. See, being alone is different from loneliness. That's just totally different. You can be alone and not be lonely. So sometimes the person asks for break, moves on, but doesn't know how to come back to you. You should be able to convince your partner that, hello, I might not call you because you asked for a break, but be rest assured that whenever you want to talk, I'll be here. If you have an emergency, please feel free to call me. I'll be here. It's not an opportunity or an avenue for me to get back at you. No. As a matter of fact, your relationship might just be sweeter when you have a break. Also, people become better friends when they actually quarrel. and they have a conversation. Their friendship deepens, as opposed to when you have an offense and you just walk away. You keep walking away from people. But when you have an offense and you guys talk about it, there will be mutual respect. And now I know what he doesn't like, now I know what she doesn't like, and then it deepens the friendship. Thank you so much. And this is R for M. Do well to subscribe, share this video. All right, share this video, subscribe. We need a whole lot of people to learn the things that we get to dish out here, both educative, enlightening, and engaging. Thank you very much. I remain prolific. Thank you.